You won't believe what happened next. Imagine saying goodbye to someone you've loved so fiercely, so imperfectly, for nearly half a century. Now, picture a crowd so massive you'd think a king or queen had just passed away. But this wasn't a royal. This was Ozzy Osbourne, the wild heart of rock, and the love story at the center of his life. It's even more unbelievable. Let's rewind. Yesterday, the streets of Birmingham were packed, absolutely bursting with people. Folks from all walks of life, tattooed metalheads, old-school fans, young kids, even the city shopkeepers, everyone turned out. Not just to mourn, but to celebrate. It's wild to think, right? Because Ozzy wasn't just a rock star, he was the soul of a generation. But here's what got me. It wasn't the music or the mayhem that brought tears to my eyes. It was seeing Sharon Osbourne, a woman I've known for years, standing there without him. I gotta tell you, I've never seen Sharon like that. Normally, she's all fire and wit, always ready with a comeback. But yesterday? She looked lost. Quiet. Like someone had just ripped half her world away and she was still trying to figure out how to breathe without it. It wasn't the dramatic movie-style collapse, no screaming, no fainting. Just a silent, trembling sadness that hit everyone around her right in the gut. You know when someone's in so much pain, they can't even cry? That was Sharon. Their marriage? Oh man, it was legendary for all the wrong and right reasons. They never pretended it was perfect. If anything, they flaunted the flaws. Addiction, betrayals, public fights, illnesses, media storms, they went through it all, and it was always out in the open. But through every mess, there was this wild, unbreakable love. The kind of love that could only exist between two people crazy enough, and brave enough, to stick around for each other's chaos. People forget, Ozzy was the real deal, a trouble magnet, a laugh machine, a rebel who somehow found his anchor in Sharon. And Sharon? She didn't just manage his career, she literally dragged him back from the brink, over and over again. Back in the day, after Ozzy got kicked out of Black Sabbath, most people figured he was done. But not Sharon. She found him, picked him up, and said, "Let's do this." She was the spark he needed, the manager who made him a legend, and the woman who refused to quit on him even when everyone else would have run for the hills. And Ozzy? He knew it. He once told me, I couldn't have done any of this without Sharon. He wasn't just talking about the music. He meant life. When Ozzy passed away, it wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was like the air got sucked out of the room for Sharon. Her other half, the only person who ever truly saw her, warts and all, was gone. How do you keep going after that? Now, here's something most people don't see, Sharon's strength. She never made a show of her pain. She just stood there, holding on, as if refusing to let the world see her break. And you know what? That's real strength. Because sometimes the loudest pain is the one you fight in silence. Their story was never smooth. Ozzy spiraled, more than once. Alcohol, drugs, wild nights, he tried it all, nearly lost it all. There were times Sharon walked away, but she always came back. Not out of weakness, hell no. Out of love. Real love. The kind that stands in the storm and fights for the person, not just the promise. Even in the darkest days, addiction, accidents, illnesses, Sharon was there. She was his manager, his nurse, his best mate. When Ozzy was diagnosed with Parkinson's, it was Sharon who stood with him, facing the cameras, taking the blows. She didn't cry. She didn't flinch. She just squeezed his hand, ready for the next battle. And Ozzy? He might have been a pain in the ass, but he was never fake. What you saw was what you got. Whether he was on stage or at home, Ozzy was Ozzy, funny, chaotic, and fiercely loyal. He loved Sharon with a wildness that didn't always make sense, but it never died out. He once joked, "Sometimes I want to kill her, but at the end of the day, I love her more than anything in the world." And you know what? He meant every word. 50 years is a long time to love someone, especially someone as unpredictable as Ozzy. Most marriages don't survive a tenth of what they did. And yet, through every high and low, every scandal, every heartbreak, they made it. Not because they were perfect, but because they refused to give up on each other. Now, Ozzy's final show in Birmingham? That was something else. The whole city showed up. Metallica, Guns N' Roses, legends everywhere, all paying tribute. Ozzy was in a wheelchair, but they rolled him out in this massive black chair, looked like a throne. And for one night, he was king again. The stadium shook with the sound of his voice, even if it cracked a little. And the crowd? You could feel the love pouring out, like a river. It wasn't just a concert. It was the final chapter of a wild, beautiful story. And then, this moment, right on stage, in front of thousands, Ozzy's daughter's boyfriend drops to one knee and proposes. I mean, come on. Even in the middle of saying goodbye, life finds a way to keep moving forward. Ozzy couldn't make it to her wedding, but he sent a letter, full of hope and love. That's who he was at the end, not just the Prince of Darkness, but a dad, a granddad, and a husband who loved his family more than anything. People see the legend, but behind it was a kid from a rough corner of Birmingham who never really lost that hungry, scrappy edge. He grew up poor, fighting for everything. His parents argued, the house was loud, and nothing came easy. But somewhere in all that chaos, Ozzy found music. And music, well, it saved him. He went from nobody to icon, with Black Sabbath changing the face of rock forever. But fame didn't erase his struggles. He fought addiction, battled his own demons, and sometimes lost. But he never stopped fighting. After Sabbath, he went solo, Blizzard of Oz, Crazy Train, all that legendary stuff. And Sharon was right there for every note, every stumble, every comeback. They even let the world in, reality TV style, with their crazy family. We saw it all, the fights, the laughter, the weird pets. They weren't trying to act perfect, they just let it all hang out. And that's what made them real. Ozzy's legacy? It's not just music. It's perseverance. It's getting knocked down 100 times and standing up 101. It's finding your person, the one who'll drag you out of hell if she has to, and holding on with everything you've got. When he died, it wasn't just the end of an era. It was the end of a story that taught us all a thing or two about what it means to love, to fight, and to keep going even when you're sure you can't. And Sharon? She's still standing. Bruised, maybe. But standing. Because that's what she does. Jack and Kelly, Ozzy's kids, they're carrying the torch now. Jack's been through his own hell and came out stronger. Kelly? She's learned from her dad's mistakes and his love, too. Ozzy wasn't perfect, but he taught his kids the most important thing: family is everything. No matter what. His final message to Sharon and the kids? Don't let grief eat you up. Forgive others, yourself, the past. Let go of the bitterness. Keep living, keep loving, keep rocking. If you're out there watching this, maybe you needed that reminder, too. Maybe you're facing your own demons. If Ozzy Osbourne could make it through everything he did, so can you. So here's to the legend who never gave up, the woman who loved him through it all, and the family that keeps his light alive. Ozzy Osbourne's story is proof that love, real, messy, stubborn love, can survive anything. And the music? That'll never die. If this story hit you in the heart, or if you've got your own wild memories of Ozzy and the Osbourne family, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment below, share your thoughts, and hey, if you want to see more honest stories and legendary tributes, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's keep the spirit of rock and real love alive, together. Thanks for hanging out with us to remember Ozzy. The man, the myth, the absolute legend. See you next time.